Drive home with Maggie and Perloff. Afternoons 3 to 6 on WSKO Syracuse, a Cumulus media station. The voice of the Central New York sports fan, The Score, 1260. Welcome to your home for local sports in Syracuse. Outside the Box Score with Mark Rowlands starts right now.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. We've got Braylon Noble in the house as well today. No Josh, just a little bit of housekeeping. Next week, no show. So make sure, I mean, you can still tune in at 11 o'clock on the Score 1260, but you will not be hearing my voice. I will be on a little vacation. I head to Orlando, Florida tomorrow, little golf trip. Josh is involved in that as well. There's going to be 8 of us going on a golf trip. Very exciting stuff. So no show next week, but the week after is the big one. November 4th, the Electronics Parkway Park in Liverpool, the pickleball tournament. Registration is open. All you got to do, if you go to my social media, it's pinned to the top of my Twitter account. It's also a highlight on my Instagram. All of the information there. 11 a.m., Saturday, November 4th. Like I said, Electronics Parkway Park in Liverpool. They've got 6 pickleball courts. Make sure you register now. Get your name into Josh. His phone number is listed on the flyer that I have posted. All the information's there. Thank you to our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company for helping us out with this. Our friends at CNY Pickleball for helping us organize this. And we are also going to have some lovely glazed and confused donuts there for you as well. So you want to make sure you get involved in that. Grab a partner. There is a registration fee. It's $10 per person. So $20 per team. We are going to be playing doubles. So just get that out of the way. Register now. Mark off that calendar for November 4th. Live broadcast from the pickleball tournament. We're bringing all the equipment. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you register now. Anyway, now we got the housekeeping out of the way. Some big news broke this week in terms of a Syracuse legend moving on to a different point in his career. Jim Boeheim, of all people, is going to be in the broadcast booth. He's going to be working for ESPN and Westwood One. Westwood One, of course, national radio covering games. And I can't believe it, Braylon. The man who has sat there for 47 years and complained about the media is now the media. Now, personally, I think he'll be very good at this. And I don't know if a lot of people agree with me. There's going to be some growing pains early on, obviously. This is a man who has never really broadcasted a game before. And I know he's got on-air experience. He goes on ESPN every once in a while. I know he did like the whole tour around the networks when he was retiring. And he had the Jim Boeheim show here in Syracuse for a long time. Also, I don't want to say frequent, but also is a sports talk radio caller. I know he likes to make fun of people that call into sports talk radio shows, but he also did the same thing. I don't know if there's a single person that watches more basketball than Jim Boeheim. The guy's a basketball junkie. All he does is sit and watch basketball. He watches international basketball. He watches, college, pro, high school. You combine that with the fact that I know he wasn't always the most bubbly personality as the head coach at Syracuse, but if you interact with him away from the game, outside of a post-game press conference, outside of an in-game interview, he's a pretty affable guy. He's likable. He's got a good sense of humor. And you combine all of those things with the knowledge of basketball. I think he's going to be good. Jim is saying, how will Boeheim adjust to not being in charge and can't control any media criticism of him on air? Listen, I don't think he would have accepted this job if he didn't understand that.
Mhm.
If he didn't have a sense of, okay, yeah, people are going, there might be some backlash to this, and I might, people might not think I'm great. If he couldn't take that, I don't think he would have accepted it.
Yeah, bro. I think he's got thick skin though.
Because,
Yeah.
yeah, say what you want about the way he was curt with the media sometimes. It never really got to him.
No.
It never, the stupid questions or anything or criticism, it never got under his skin. He would just, fire back. And I think he'll be able to take it. He says, Jim also says, watching games may or may not translate to being a good on air analyst communicating the game to viewers. Not necessarily, but I do think he has. Um, Jim says, Boeheim literally got a drive time host fired. All right. I don't think that was on him. I think that was on some other people, but we're not going to get into that full discussion because it is not our place at this station to really discuss the business dealings. And I hate to describe it as that because I know said drive time host, and he's a very good guy, and I like him. And I hate to describe it as that, but it's not really our business to discuss the business dealings of another station. But again, I think that was less so Boeheim and more so someone else, at least from what I've heard. So I don't think it necessarily gets under his skin. I think that it got under the skin of people around him, and that's what led to that. And I was talking about this with the Manchild the other day. I was on the Manchild show with Boy Green all week, and we were discussing this. And it's going to be interesting because Manchild made a really good point. He's friends with a lot of guys still. Like, let's say Boeheim's calling a St. John's game. Rick Pitino is the head coach of St. John's. Rick Pitino, a guy that used to be an assistant at Syracuse. These two have been longtime friends. What if Rick Pitino makes a mistake on the coaching side? Is Boeheim going to be willing to really lay into him and say, no, he shouldn't have done that? Or is he going to be, well, I don't know if it was the right decision, but hey, he's a really good coach, and it's a hard game out there. That'll be interesting to see.
Yep.
But what I would like to see out of that is if he's not going to bury a guy, if he's going to say, listen, it's a fast-paced game. You don't know in the moment if you should call that timeout or not, yada, yada, yada. Tell us why. Explain why the actions of what's happening in the game make you second-guess calling a timeout or something like that. Let us really see inside the mind of a coach, because there's a lot of really good former coaches that are analysts. Dick Vitale, Jim Valvano was very good at it before he tragically passed. Seth Greenberg is very good.
Jay Wright's doing broadcasting.
Jay
too,
Wright,
right?
he is, yeah, he is doing broadcasting now, and I like Jay Wright. So, but they never really get to that level. It's never, sometimes I do want to hear about the coach. It's not all just about the players. I know they're 90% of it. But sometimes I want to know what's going on between the ears of a head coach in the middle of a college basketball game, especially a big game with a big moment close late in the second half. Do I call the timeout here? Do I not? Explain that thought process. I think that would be very interesting to hear. And I don't know if there'd be anyone better to do it than Jim Boeheim. You're talking about the longest tenured coach in the history of Division I basketball. Clearly, the guy knows a thing or two. This guy has watched the evolution of basketball like very few other people in the world have. It's like him and Larry Brown and Hubie Brown.
Yep.
Yeah, Hubie. He's still doing games, isn't
I
he?
think he is.
God, that guy's a marvel. He's like 93 years old. Played with Played with Naismith in college.
I'd be interesting too if he says anything about like the NIL because it seems like he wasn't a fan of it
No.
during the games and the transfer portal and all that. Like, I wonder if he'll give his takes on those things during the games and stuff.
Well, it's interesting because he's doing both. He's doing games and studio work. So I think you might do more of that in a studio setting than during a game. Because if you're doing it during a game, it sort of sounds like you're calling out the players, and that's never a good thing. So I think you would do that more in a studio setting where that's more acceptable. But during a game, I wouldn't be sure if he was to take that route. But I could see him doing that. I really could. No one has ever described Jim Boeheim as unwilling to speak. The guy usually speaks his mind. And if his mind is on something like that, I'm sure he'd be willing to talk about it, even on national television. So I have high hopes for Coach. I really do. He is, like I said, outside of a basketball setting, he really is a good guy with a good sense of humor. And then you combine that with the knowledge, and I think it makes for a really good analyst. We'll see, obviously. We've got, we have no idea yet how he is. But my prediction is he'll be pretty good. Divisive. I do think he will be quite divisive, but I would lean towards the good side. I also, and we were talking about this before the show, I need him in a 3-man booth with either Dick Vitale or Bill Walton.
That would be something.
Listening to Vitale, oh my God, it's unbelievable. Have you ever seen anything like this? Yeah. Like, he would just have an answer for everything. Yeah. Something that Dick Vitale has never had next to him before. I think it would be great. And then he could just listen to Bill Walton talk about, seeing the Dead in 82 while he was high on acid in Denver, Colorado. And especially, I don't want him just in a booth with Walton. I need Walton to still be doing Pac-12 games. Like, I need Jim Boeheim to all of a sudden do a random Arizona State, like, New Mexico State, yeah, sort of game at 11 o'clock at night on the East Coast, listening to Bill Walton ramble about absolutely nothing.
Great late night TV.
Oh, Bill Walton is a big reason why I love Pac-12 basketball so much. I joke about Bill Walton. I love listening to him because I don't know if there's a more entertaining color commentator in all of sports. Does he know a lot about basketball? Sure. He's a former MVP in the NBA. This guy won national championships in college. He played for John Wooden. There's all sorts of qualifications that Bill Walton has to be a really good broadcaster, and he's very knowledgeable. But I just want to hear the stories, man. I remember I was calling a game back when I was at SUNY Oswego. I was calling a basketball game, and my normal color commentator couldn't make it. So I dial up a friend of mine named Zach, and he's doing color commentary for me that day. And he's never done it before, mind you. He's never worked a broadcast before. He has no idea what he's doing. He actually didn't do a bad job. And this is also, he never played basketball. Like, he had zero basketball playing experience. The only basketball playing experience he had was going up against me one-on-one at the gymnasium. In the school gym, we used to play one-on-one once a week. That was his basketball experience. And I used to toast him despite the fact he was 6'4" and I'm 5'10". But that's beside the point. So he's doing it. And my dad texts me, and this is at the half, so we're taking a little break. And he goes, "Tell Zach to do his best Walton in the second half." He goes, "I think that would just be hilarious." And so we're just talking. I'm calling the game. Pass to the outside 3-pointer, it's in, and Oswego takes a 72-58 lead, whatever. And all of a sudden, Zach just goes, "This reminds me of a time I was in the Adirondacks." And spins a yarn like you wouldn't believe. Makes the entire thing up on the spot. I was like, was any part of that story true? He goes, "No, I've never been to the Adirondacks." That was after the game. He didn't say that on air, but after the game, I asked him that. It seriously, probably about 5 minutes with me just intercutting. So he's telling the story. I was walking and there was this tree, man. This tree spoke to me. It looked like it was out of a cartoon. It started going on, and all of a sudden you pass from Carey to the outside. Sanborn takes the 3 and misses. Brown gets the offensive board and the putback for 2. And this tree, like, he just kept going. It was one of the funniest things I've ever done, and it was all inspired by Bill Walton. So that's a quick Bill Walton / me at SUNY Oswego story. I feel like Boeheim would call one game with Walton and consider quitting.
Think you get tired of him?
Very quickly. I think you give Boeheim 10 minutes with Walton, he's like, all right.
I thought this was a good idea.
Yeah, this is bad. Or it's the other way, and Boeheim just starts doing the same thing. We just find out that Boeheim's a massive deadhead, and he's been smoking pot since '68. And him and Walton actually followed the dead around on tour for a year and a half. We find out they're best friends in the world after 5 minutes. There's only 2 ways it could possibly go, and I very much doubt it would be that way, even though that would be the funnier of the 2 options.
If that was, they probably would be the most highly watched duo.
Oh, absolutely. Ever. Are you kidding me? Hey, you got Summerall and Madden, Buck and Aikman, Walton and Boeheim. And who at that point you don't even need a play-by-play guy. No. Jason Benetti sadly can't be Bill Walton's play-by-play guy anymore because he left ESPN to join Fox. So he won't be there anymore, sadly. So I say just screw it. There's no play-by-play, just Walton and Boeheim. Walton also does now like a Manning cast for the NBA. He did a few of them last year. I watched one of them. I don't know if he knew there was a basketball game happening.
Probably not.
No, he had the game on his TV, but I don't know if he actually watched it. Jim says Summerall and Madden were on their own level. Yeah, they're one of the best booths of all time. It's the only booths that I think compete with them are, if you look at any nationally televised baseball booth from the 80s, it's like just legends. Like every single time. It's like, yeah, this one's Vin Scully with Bob Uecker. Bob Costas is the sideline reporter. It's like, huh? All these guys are in the same broadcast? Some of those baseball booths from the 80s are absolutely absurd. I just want to go back and watch. I watch a lot of old baseball games, but they're more so from the 90s. I want to go back to like the mid 80s and watch some of those, because I mean, I could have the screen off and just listen to the broadcast like it was a radio broadcast, and I would absolutely adore every second of it. I think that was one. It was Scully, Uecker, and Costas. 3 guys in the Baseball Hall of Fame for broadcasting.
That could be happening now, though. I'm sure it is. I'm sure there's a booth right now.
Yeah.
That's going to be.
Yeah, maybe there is.
About it, in 15, 20 years, you're like, all these guys worked on the same game?
I don't know, though, man. Like, I think, because I'm just trying to think of like all the different college football booths they have at ESPN, and they're good ones, but none that I'm like, I think the best color analyst is probably RG3.
Really?
I really like RG3. I think he does a really good job, personally.
Bad. I just think sometimes he's not bad.
Yeah.
I just think he's not. To me, it just seems like he's still so new at it that
yeah,
he's kind of feeling himself out still.
Yeah. Herb Street's good, obviously. Actually, yeah, I'd probably lean Herb Street. But in general, I'm just like, eh.
Nothing impresses you.
Yeah, nothing. Not that they don't impress me. It's just nothing that I think we would be talking about like a legendary status in the coming years. I do, but like I said, I do really like RG3. He's got such great energy.
He does.
And you can tell how much he loves the game.
I think he still wants to be playing, though.
He does.
I think
he absolutely
that's where it's
does.
coming from. I think it's just because he wants to be out there so bad.
Still. How old is he?
He's only like maybe 30. He got drafted in 12.
Yeah, something like
So he's
that.
probably what's his 23. So he's got to be like 31, somewhere like that.
He's
32,
33.
33.
Yeah. I forgot he was on the Ravens in 2020.
Yeah, he was Lamar's backup for a little while.
Yeah, he was with the Ravens
Because
for
they felt
3
like they had
years.
similar styles and they
Yeah.
just plugged them in.
But I remembered he was on the Ravens, but I never would have said it was in 2020. I would have said it was in like 2018, the
but he
first year
took
he
a
was
year
there.
off though, right? He took a year or
He
two
did.
off.
Yeah, he played with Washington from 12 to 15, Cleveland in 16. I don't remember that at all.
I think he got hurt.
Yeah, well, of course he did.
But I mean,
And then he took 17 off and played with the Ravens from 18 to 20. I don't remember him in Cleveland in the slightest. Well, yeah, there's barely a paragraph on
I think he
Wikipedia.
got hurt. I don't think he really
See,
even played that much.
2-year, $15 million contract. He was named the starting quarterback, placed on injured reserve September 12th. So, yeah, that was quick.
That's like, what, 2 weeks? 1 week?
And it was week 1.
Week 1?
Suffering a shoulder injury in the Browns' season-opening loss to the Eagles. He was activated off injured reserve on December 9th prior to week 14. He did play in 5 games, but then was released because he wasn't very good. Which, that'll happen. Here's the thing with him. I know he had a good rookie year. He was never that good.
He was better than Luck was that year, to me.
Yeah.
After Luck was better the rest of their career.
Well, yeah.
But that first year, and it could have just been they had a better team, but I think he had a future had they not put him back too early, put him back in too early.
Yeah.
I think he would have been at least a solid, because you gotta look at the QBs that start.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me he wasn't at least a starter in the league.
No, I'm sure.
And with how the game is played now, his mobility.
Oh yeah.
If he wasn't broken down by year 3, he would have had a decent career.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that he would have been like atrocious. Yeah, he absolutely would have been a starter, and for probably a number of years he would have started in the NFL. But I never thought he was like, all world like people did when he was coming out of Baylor.
No.
Yeah. And he definitely still wants to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
I think he there was a clip on ESPN where he was talking about like potential guys that the Jets could go out and get after the Aaron Rodgers injury. He just threw his name in there. Like he's listing guys and he goes, me. It's like, what? Are you really making a plea right now to the New York Jets for them to sign you?
Yeah.
On national television?
Yeah.
All right, I guess.
I think he might be better than Zach Wilson right now.
He might be. Oh, well, hey, Jets are coming off a win.
Yeah.
And as an Eagles fan, it makes me want to throw up.
First time ever.
12 straight wins against the Jets. We lose to Zach freaking Wilson. I almost cried on Monday when I came on the Man-Child show. I started the show with Everybody Hurts by REM, which is one of the saddest songs of all time. I was like, I am sad. I want everyone to know I'm sad. My team lost to the Jets. It was bad, man. Panthers won this past week?
No.
I didn't think so.
I
didn't mean that as like a slight. I just legitimately couldn't remember, and I didn't think they did.
They were up 14.
Oh yeah, they had the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Yeah, they were up 14
Miami
on the
comes back and
Dolphins.
scores like 40 points
Yeah.
unanswered. So it was fun at the beginning, but then
You gotta love the NFL, don't you? Just rips your heart out week in and week out. It's like SU football.
Oh well.
But we don't have to talk about
I
today.
wouldn't say that was like we're just used to it now.
Well, that's true. So SU fans should be as well. But yeah, we there's no SU football game today, which I'm fine with. I personally, the way this team's played the last 3 weeks, I could use a few extra days off from watching SU football. I will say they do have a game coming up on Thursday against Virginia Tech. SU now sitting at 4-3. Virginia Tech 3-4. Programming note for that. SU's playing Thursday night. The Buffalo Bills are also playing on Thursday night. So we've got a double dip of upstate/Western New York teams playing a little Thursday night football this coming week. So make sure to be on the lookout for that. That might be a double screen setup for your boy. That's one where you get the two TVs next to each other. One's on the Cuse, one's on the Bills. And I'll be taking that one in. That'll be a lot of fun. Timeout. Come back. A lot more to talk about here on Outside the Box Score. With me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. If you're a fan of local craft beer, the only place you need to go is Myers Creek Brewing Company with 16 brews on tap at both the Cazenovia and Inner Harbor locations. Myers Creek has the best selection of locally brewed libations in all of central New York. Want a nice hazy IPA? The Velvet Fog is a must-try. More of a traditional Pilsner, how about the Floatin' on By? And for you sour drinkers, the It Takes Blue to Mango. So crack open a cold one with the official beer of Outside the Box Score, Myers Creek.
We're buying.
I don't think he played one of those years.
I don't think he did either.
Because I know when he was active, they played him. And then
Yeah.
they got, what's his name? Huntley? Tyler Hunt? Is it Huntley?
Yeah,
Tyler Huntley?
Tyler Huntley, yeah.
And then they got him. But
Jim says, must win for SU football Thursday to prevent a total mass exit of fans. Half the fans are gone, my friend. I think a lot of the fans are already out on this team, myself included. But you know what I hate about Virginia Tech?
what's that?
They might have the worst uniforms in the Power 5. That color combination is atrocious.
The purplish orange.
Purple and orange?
Going on.
Like, but the way
And
they do it is
red.
terrible.
The
Yeah, it's like
red color,
maroon.
yeah.
It's like a maroon and orange, which is oh god. How would you spin keeping Dino if he goes 6-6, 2-6 in the ACC? Easily. We don't care about winning. We don't want to win a national championship. We want to go to a bowl, and that would
Pinstripe
be
Bowl.
yeah. No, because that one's actually got some cachet now. The Pinstripe Bowl is actually kind of a good bowl now. When we played it, it was garbage, but it's kind of good now. So we wouldn't make that with 6-6. You got to win like 8 or 9 games to be in the Pinstripe now. Just be the Camping World Bowl again. The Duke's Mayo Bowl, which is my personal favorite. Where they like eat mayo on the broadcast straight from the jar. It's disgusting, and I hate it.
It's like when Thanksgiving, Justin Jefferson couldn't eat the turkey leg because he had his grills in.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
He's like, I got grills in my mouth. I'm gonna eat it later.
You got to be prepared. You got to know. If you're playing on Thanksgiving, you got to eat the turkey.
I don't see how you play football with jury on because I tried to play with
Mm-hmm.
earrings on before. Lost both of them. I tried it. And it wasn't even a game. It was practice. I'm like, I'm going to try this today. Then maybe I'll do it for the game.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
I don't
Took
get
my
it.
helmet off and it came right out.
These guys have the most like durable jewelry. Unless you're what's his name? Aqib Talib yanking chains. That was him, right? He was yanking he yanked someone's chain off. I can't remember who. Excuse me.
Lost both of them at practice. I took them off, took the helmet off, and just
Whoop. See ya. Yeah, we weren't allowed to play with jewelry. Like, it was like a team policy. No one was allowed to play with jewelry. I always wear necklaces, and I wasn't allowed to wear these either.
Get a $25 prepaid Visa card.
And we're back outside the box score with Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Jim is saying in the chat he just got a Nielsen letter in the mail about what he listens to on the radio. So yes, Jim, the official call letters are WSKO here at the Score 1260. So there you go. I hope that helps you out, my friend. Glad you're writing this down. Hope a lot of other people out there are doing that as well. Do want to plug this really quick. Braylon, thank you for finding this. I love stuff like this. October 22nd, so tomorrow, Bishop Ludden going to be hosting a little basketball clinic. If you have some kiddos out there that want to learn how to play basketball, you can send them to this. Boys and girls in grades 3 through 6. Cost is only $5, and it all goes to Coaches versus Cancer. you contact Gallagher Driscoll at gdriscoll at Syracuse Diocese. So at syrdiocese.org. That was a weird thing to read in an email. I was like, at what organization is that? So that's G Driscoll, GDRISCOLL at SYRDIOCESE.org if you want to get your kids involved in that. I was talking to someone recently that their kid is actually doing that. I don't remember who it was, but someone was telling me they were sending their son to that. I'm assuming they'll have maybe have a special guest or something, but it all goes to charity, and it's for a very good cause.
I believe it said that the people running there, like some of the Bloodin players and the coaches.
Yeah, so yeah, I figured it was something like that, and good people over there at Bishop Ludden. So if you do have a kid that's interested in basketball, why not sign them up? Like I said, it's just $5, and it goes to a great charity, Coaches versus Cancer. Do have a little more SU basketball news. Cayenne Anthony making his official visit, I believe still going on.
I think it's the whole weekend.
Yeah, it's the whole weekend. Came in a day or two ago. Saw that there's a picture of him and Mello, and Mello's in the orange 1-5, and Cayenne's in an SU jersey. Boy, let me tell you, that kid looks good in orange and blue. He would fit right in here in Syracuse. I'm getting excited about the opportunity or the chance that maybe another Anthony will play SU basketball. Mello and Lala in town with their son. Just, they were at the Rise and Shine Diner the other day. So maybe if you're hanging around campus, you might spot them. Could also spot I know he was in last night, Josh Richards from Barstool, one of the guys. He was just like going to the Orange Crate last night. I don't know why. Just decided to come to Syracuse, I guess. Well, I think it's because SU won Syracuse won like best bar town in their bracket last year, which shout out SU students and Syracuse-based Barstool fans for voting Syracuse for that. Because I kind of agree. I think we're a great bar town. None better, by the way, than our friends over at Myers Creek Brewing Company. 2 locations in Cazenovia and the Inner Harbor in Syracuse. The Palace, that is the Cazenovia location. You like that one, Braylon? You like that transition into the live read? That was pretty good, wasn't it? I'm proud of myself. The Palace out in Cazenovia and the Inner Harbor location. 16, count them 16, craft brews always on tap. Got some great events coming up next weekend, Braylon. So we got their music bingo night, which they do every once in a while, but they're doing a special spooky one next Saturday, the 28th. And they got a costume contest going on. And there's some prizes involved, man. You best group costume gets a prize. The funniest costume gets a prize. Best overall costume gets a prize. But the one I think is great, the sexiest costume, also gets a prize. And so I'm sure that, here's the thing. So I went as Tom Cruise in Risky Business for Halloween a few years ago. And if you're not familiar with the movie, that's the one where he lip syncs Old Time Rock and Roll by Bob Seger in a button down in his underwear. Okay. And yeah, and he slides out and does the whole thing. He's got the shades on, whatever. And so I did that when I was at Oswego. You remember the Lake Effect Cafe right there in the middle of campus, and what building was that? The library in Penfield Library. And they were having an open mic night / costume contest. So not only do I, of course, show up with that as my costume, but I enter the open mic night and just told them to play Old Time Rock and Roll. And I did the routine from Risky Business to the song. I didn't win anything. I didn't get anything. It not even people were, clapping. They're going nuts when I'm doing it. Didn't win a damn thing. So, sadly, I will not be able to attend this upcoming Myers Creek costume contest, but you should. Like I said, it's next a week from today, Saturday 28th. Hey, we're not going to have a show. Go down to Myers Creek instead. There's going to be no outside the box score, so head on over to our friends at Myers Creek in Cazenovia. The following day, October 29th, this is awesome. I love this. I don't know if you're a bird guy.
Birds?
Yeah.
No.
Not a bird guy.
I hate seagulls. There's at my job, the parking lot. It's like a Price Chopper parking lot, but I don't work at Price Chopper. I work at the other store.
Yeah.
There's seagulls flying around, and this is the most
Oh,
dangerous
they're
thing.
always there.
It's the most dangerous thing I do every day is walking across that parking lot because I'm just praying one of these seagulls doesn't,
You know, right on you. Yeah. Yeah. It's like walking through a war zone. It's hating seagulls is fair, but how about owls, falcons, eagles, awesome birds of prey? Well, if you are a fan of those, you can go to Myers Creek on Sunday the 29th, the Birds and Brews event.
Mhm.
They've got 2 bird shows, one at 1, one at 3:30. You can throw on the glove. If you ever put or want to put the long glove on and then a falcon just lands on your arm?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, right? Well, you can do that at Myers Creek next Sunday, October 29th, Birds and Brews. They've got a special beer. Owl be there. That's right.
I'll be there.
Yep. It's going to be an absolute blast. So make sure to check that out next weekend, our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company. Like I said, both of those happening at the Palatial Estate, the Cazenovia location. Be right back after a quick timeout here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260. For the best local beer in Central New York, the only place you need to look is Myers Creek Brewing Company, with 16 different beers on tap at both the Inner Harbor in Syracuse and the Palace that is the Cazenovia location. Myers Creek has something for everyone. Want a bite to eat? Both locations feature a kitchen with delicious pizzas, some of the best wings in Syracuse, and much more. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar of Outside the Box Score.
Ready? It's
Jim says, higher expectations, anticipation. This year's SU basketball team, or are we just running back last year's 17 and 15? Listen, I think SU is going to be good. I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. I like this team.
They're better than you were.
Oh, they're definitely better than last year because we have another year of Judah Mitz, who's only going to get better. That 3-point shot started falling at the end of last year. Apparently, it's just as good early, like at they had the orange tip-off thing. Apparently, it looked great there. The guy can just shoot now, which is dangerous. Because he couldn't shoot the first half of last year, maybe even the first 2/3 of the season. So he's going to be a legitimate shooting threat. Then you toss in J.J. Starling, who should have come here anyway. Jim says, despite some local narrative, JJ will easily replace Girard. Yeah, JJ Starling is a better all-around player than Joe Girard. And it's not just because it's like, oh, he's the local kid. He went to Beeville. No, he's just good.
Yeah.
It's not like he's transferring from Bryant. He went to Notre Dame. He still went to a Power 5 school. He went to arguably the most famous school in the country in Notre Dame. So I love the backcourt. And then you throw in guys like who's the kid that came from Kansas.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. He's hurt though.
Yeah, but
Coffee.
yeah, something like that. I can't think of his name right now. Chance Westry? No, he's the Auburn kid.
Yeah.
He's the Auburn one. I was trying to think of the Kansas one.
For some reason, I feel like his name was Coffee or Conley or something.
Yeah. You're on the right track. Oh, Cuff.
Cuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Kyle Cuff. Yeah, he's the one from Kansas. Yeah, I like him. And what I like about these guys too is it reminds me Chance Westry, like it reminds me of a more old school SU team in terms of the makeup. Everyone's just long, man. They all got long arms. This is what SU needs. And listen, I understand why Joe Girard came to Syracuse. It's, he's New York's all-time leading scorer, men or women, and he could shoot the lights out. SU doesn't work with a 5'11" point guard. It just doesn't. The zone already was getting antiquated. A zone needs length. Girard's The same size as me. I can't play in his zone. I can't play defense in general. They're the same size. And I said 5'11". That's right. He's listed at 6 foot. That guy's 5'10". We're the same height. I've said it before. I've stood right next to him. We're the same exact height. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the score 1260. We got Jim getting us to talk SU basketball during the break. By the way, if you do want to listen to our conversations during the break, you can always check out our YouTube or Twitch stream. Got a camera set up here in the studio. We talk during the breaks. Ask your questions there. By the way, if you do want to ask questions, next time we take a timeout, you can go ahead and call on our phone line, 315-671-1260. Forgot to say the phone line's open the entirety of the show today. So 315-671-1260 if you want to chime in. But we were just talking about SU basketball and how I have very high hopes for this team. And SU went 17-15 last year. It was fine. You know, they were back over 500, which I still can't believe they finished under 500 a couple years ago. That just goes to show how spoiled Syracuse fans are. That the one time they ever finish under 500 under Jim Boeheim, everyone's like, "I'll blow up the program." Happened once in 47 years, and everyone's like, "This stinks. I hate this." But I'm just looking at the roster right now, and I like Kyle Cuff. He's the one coming out of Kansas. Judah Mintz and J.J. Starling are going legitimately. I don't know when those two are playing well if there's 10 better backcourts in the country. I really don't. Like, those two guys, you can put them up against, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I can name off the top of my head every Power 5 starting backcourt, because I can't. I'm not quite in college basketball mode yet. There's still college football. There's still playoff baseball, which I've been tuning into very intently. And there's still all sorts of stuff going on. But what I do know is the makeup of this SU team. And I like pretty much everyone on this team, even the ones that I admit they have faults. Chris Bell, for being 6'7", does not rebound the ball nearly enough. And I understand that, but he can shoot and he can be a really good bench piece. Malik Brown doesn't really have much of an offensive game, but for being 6'8", he can jump out of the gym and grab a bunch of boards and play really good defense. And 6'8", by the way, he's our smallest big by like 4 inches. We got Munir Hema is still around. He's listed at 6'11", so 3 inches. Peter Carey's 6'11". William Patterson is 7'2". Naheem McLeod is 7'4", and I don't know if you saw the story in Syracuse.com recently. That guy's still growing. He's not done growing. I'm convinced when he transferred from Florida State, he was listed at 7'2". Now he's listed at 7'4". The guy just keeps getting bigger. He's gonna be 7'9" by the time he gets out of here. I like this team. And I like with all those bigs, too. And I'm interested to see how Red Autry does this. Just play him like Florida State does. You know, Florida State always has 5 guys that are 7 feet tall, and none of them play more than 12 minutes a game. Mm-hmm. Just do that. It works for them. Mm-hmm. Why can't it work for us? That way they're all always fresh. They've always got fresh legs, and you're just given different looks. I love the idea of giving different looks constantly on defense. You know, offense, we don't need those guys to score 15, 20 points a game.
No, we got the offense.
That's what Judah's for. Mm-hmm. That's what JJ's for. That's what Benny Williams is for. I think he's going to take a leap again this year. He did get better last year. Not a lot of people gave Benny much credit last year. Watch his freshman year tape compared to his sophomore year tape. The confidence level is so much higher. Mm-hmm. The guy, yeah, it takes guys a year sometimes to adjust to playing college basketball. All of a sudden, you're not big fish in a small pond. You are small fish in as big of a pond as you can imagine. Mm-hmm. So, I like Benny. I like JJ. I love Judah. This team's going to win 20 games. I'm sorry. I can't think about this team and not say they're going to win 20 games. I think the schedule, like plays out for that. And who do we start with? So, they've got their that's right, their thing in Rochester is tonight.
Okay.
The Monroe Madness. They play. They do their like tip-off thing like they just did at the Dome last week. That's tonight. So check that out if you're in the Rochester area. Start with New Hampshire, Canisius, Colgate. Oh boy, not again. Then it gets tough. The Maui Invitational this year is brutal. We start with Tennessee, and then we have to play either Purdue or Gonzaga.
You know how I feel about Gonzaga.
Well, you know how I feel about Purdue. Yeah, actually, no, these teams are all frauds. The Volunteers are frauds too. You have a worse orange. I don't like the Tennessee orange at all. It's the wrong color. All these teams are frauds. SU wins the Maui Invitational. So there we go. The clean sweep. Got LSU, and Jim says this just in: Purdue and Gonzaga are not cupcakes. I know they're not. We're obviously being facetious here, but still frauds.
Yeah.
It's a tournament. Who knows? Hey, how often do those two teams play well in any sort of tournament setting? So who knows what's going to happen there? Like I said, clean sweep for SU. They win the Maui Invitational, no problem. LSU, they're so up and down.
Yeah.
Like, you never know what you're going to get out of LSU. But realistically, let's say, all right, they beat New Hampshire, Canisius, Colgate. You're 3-0. Tennessee, you can win or lose. Tennessee in recent years has been kind of iffy. So I think they could win that one. Then, okay, you lose to Purdue or Gonzaga. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in losing to two of the top 10 teams one of two of the top 10 teams in the country. You can take down LSU. Virginia, always tough. You know it's going to be low scoring. You know it's going to be a close game because it always is. Because Virginia always plays great defense, and sometimes they can shoot. Last year, they couldn't really shoot. The year before, they could shoot. I don't know if they can shoot or not yet. We'll have to see. Cornell, that's a win. Georgetown, sorry, Josh, that's a win. Oregon,
That'd be a tough one.
that will be a tough one. I still don't understand this game. Why are they randomly playing in South Dakota? It's just a scheduling thing. They're just like, yeah, we'll play a game in South Dakota. Why? I don't know. Niagara,
That should be a win.
that should be a win. But
Yeah.
Greg Paulus, if you're listening, I still want you to come on the show. We still got to work that out. I will have Greg Paulus on the show at some point in the near future. Pitt's always tough. And we played Pitt twice this year. But we only have Duke once this year. We do have UNC twice. We got Boston College twice. Georgia Tech twice. There's a lot of winnable games on the schedule. Louisville twice. Louisville's been a dumpster fire the past couple of years. I see him winning 20 games, man. I really do. What's that?
Tournament?
We'll see. Tournament's tough. People will be reluctant to let SU into the tournament this year because the cachet is kind of gone. I'm just looking to find the last time that they won 20 games, which feels like it shouldn't be that long ago.
Probably almost 8 years ago now.
2018-19 was the last time they won 20 games.
What was that, 4 years?
Let's see. That was 5 years ago. Was the last time they won 20 games. And I believe that team went to the tournament. Was that? Yeah, that's right. They lost to Baylor in the first round. Because that was the year I think that Baylor went on to the Final Four or the championship, whatever it was. So they lost to Baylor in the first round, but I think it's an attainable goal. I really do. Because it's an entirely different team. I know the personnel is a lot of the same, but the ideology behind the team is different. The coaching in terms of what these guys are going to be taught up and the defense they're going to play, all of that is entirely different. It's unlike anything we've ever seen with SU basketball, at least in the modern era. Wasn't the Baylor game the game where SU's point guard was suspended for weed? That might be it. Who was that?
Frank Howard.
Yeah, it was Frank Howard, I think. Yeah, that might be the game that he was suspended. I'd forgotten about that. What a wild story that was. Because like no one cared.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it happens with SU. There's always random suspensions and punishments out of nowhere. So I like him, man. I really do. It's hard to explain it right now without having seen much of the team. Like in terms of like this current team in action yet this season, without having seen much, I just get good vibes from them. I think it's going to be a good year for SU. And I think a lot of SU basketball fans are going to be very happy. Another timeout. If you want to chime in on the phone lines, feel free. 315-671-1260. 315-671-1260. We'll be right back here on Outside the Box Score. Fan of local craft beer, the only place you need to go is Myers Creek Brewing Company with 16 brews on tap at both the Cazenovia and Inner Harbor locations. Myers Creek has the best selection of locally brewed libations in all of central New York. Want a nice hazy IPA? The Velvet Fog is a must-try. More of a traditional Pilsner, how about the Floatin' on By? And for you sour drinkers, the It Takes Blue to Mango. So crack open a cold one with the official beer of Outside the Box Score, Myers Creek.
Hey, look, honey.
And what else we got? Good. Corcoran kicked the crap out of Rome Free Academy. Oh yeah, let's talk about that CBA Beeville game a bit. Let's do a little quick thing here. You watched a good portion of the game. All right. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Big local game last night in the world of high school football. Christian Brothers Academy CBA going to Baldwinsville to take on the Beeville Bees. Braylon, I know you watched a good portion of that game. We had two of the best teams in Section 3 going at it. What were your takeaways?
I thought CBA showed that they were beatable because I think they were undefeated up until that point.
Yes.
And they almost lost last night.
Mm-hmm.
And Baldwinsville had a chance to win the game at the end. It was like 17-20, and they just couldn't come away with the score on their last possession. But it was a good game.
CBA.
They were at CBA, I think, though.
No, well, at least on Syracuse.com it says at Beeville.
Oh, okay.
So who knows? But CBA, and interesting, we were talking about it before the show. You said no Sayer Torrance.
Yeah, I don't know if he got hurt at the beginning of the game, but once I noticed him on the sideline during the middle of it, I don't think he ever went in.
Okay, interesting. Because he obviously just reopened his recruitment, decommitted from Michigan State. Can't say I blame him with a lot of the stuff going on with the Spartans right now. So he decommitted from Michigan State. I mean, I'm sure SU will be reaching out once again and be like, "Hey, you were gonna come here in the first place. Why don't you just stay home, Sayer? You know, we hosted your brother for a long time. Where Samir graduate?
I think so. I know
He went to Binghamton,
yeah,
which was a very strange move.
Maybe he'll play more down there though.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. He would play more at Binghamton than he would at Syracuse, but yeah, excuse me. I wish I could have caught more of this game. I really wish I could have sat down and had the opportunity to watch this game pillar to post, because that is, I mean, we're looking at a, potential not just postseason matchup, but two teams that could make a run like towards the state tournament, realistically. Now, if only Boeheim played Torrance's brother a bit more. Hey, listen, all right, they're different programs. Zaire can still come to Syracuse. It's okay. He's is he like a defensive back? Why can't I think of what position
Tight
he is?
end.
Oh,
Maybe,
tight end, really?
Maybe.
Okay.
I think
It's
he's
also
a tight end.
it's so hard in high school football because everyone plays four positions. Like I don't know what he's classified as. He is a very, very good recruit coming out of CBA. So they do take down Baldwinsville 20-17, like you said, Braylon. And once again, it's CBA's section to lose. It seems like it always is in every sport, and it's really annoying. But once again, because so we were talking about CBA's undefeated, and Baldwinsville lost to CNS previously.
I don't know if they lost any other games, but I do think they lost to CNS.
Yeah, so it was a clash of the Titans in Baldwinsville last night. Also, quickly, just want to mention this because the story's been going around. That Watertown Fowler brawl that happened last week. Not a fan. Not a fan of that happening. Fowler did forfeit their last game of the season. That was a play-in game for sectionals. I just feel really bad for the kids. No one from Fowler should have had to deal with what allegedly the kids from Watertown were saying. I've seen stuff like that happen before. It's never good. Obviously, I'm 100% not, I'm 100% condemning any comments that were made from the Watertown side towards the Fowler side, because we see stuff like that too often, especially in high school football, where it's like, come on, man. Not only have some common sense, but just be a decent human being. And I don't know exactly what was said there, in terms of the exact verbiage, but the allegations of what was said on the Watertown side are inexcusable, and absolutely hate to see that on a high school football field. I'm not condoning exactly what Fowler did, but seems like some of those kids might have had it coming to them. So just a brief comment on that. We do have to take one more time out, come back, wrap things up here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse. For the best local beer in central New York, the only place you need to look is Myers Creek Brewing Company, with 16 different beers on tap at both the Inner Harbor in Syracuse and the Palace that is the Cazenovia location. Myers Creek has something for everyone. Want a bite to eat? Both locations feature a kitchen with delicious pizzas, some of the best wings in Syracuse, and much more. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar of Outside the Box Score.
We're buying whatever you're selling at the DV Vehicle Buying Center. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, we need your vehicle for our pre-owned inventory. Just drive into the buying center, get a fast, generous appraisal, turn that car into cash. Why do people love the DV Buying Center? It's an easy, fast way to get a check. That's why. The Buying Center at Drivers Village. See why at selltodv.com.
And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, wrapping up another fun-filled hour here on the Score 1260. Want to remind you, registration is open for the Outside the Box Score pickleball tournament, Electronics Parkway Park in Liverpool. That is Saturday, November 4th, 2 weeks from today. So make sure you get involved with that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some donuts that are going to be delicious, a live broadcast of the show from the tournament. I'm actually going down to the venue right after this to check things out, make sure we can get it all set up for the broadcast. Very excited. Excited to interact with some of the fans out there, get to meet some of you. Jim, I'm hoping you're coming. I'd love to meet you in person. The guys in here in the chat every single week, we love them, and we love all of you for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back in 2 weeks, live from the pickleball tournament. No show next week. Have a good couple of weeks. We'll see you next time. Peace.